It's Kyle here, and today I'm excited to be talking about episode 8 of season 3 of The Bad Batch, Bad Territory. If you haven't watched this episode yet, please stop watching this review because this will include spoilers. So go watch the episode and then come back and finish the review because otherwise you're going to get some stuff spoiled all. So with that warning out of the way, let's talk about Bad Territory. I enjoyed this episode a lot, and you can really, divide it into two halves. There's two storylines. You have the Omega and Crosshair storyline and the Hunter and Wrecker storyline. So instead of going the episode in order, I'm going to kind of divide the stories in half. So first off, I'll focus honestly on my favorite half of the episode, and that is the storyline revolving around Omega and Crosshair. I found this part of the story very interesting. The way they're developing the relationship between Omega and Crosshair has been extremely fascinating this season. I definitely did not see them developing this close of a relationship after their escape. I thought it'd be more, Crosshair reconnecting with the entire group, but instead, they're definitely focused on Omega and Crosshair kind of developing this very close relationship. And I think a lot of it's because they have this common experience of what they went through at Tantus. But it's been very interesting. I loved elements of this episode where, Crosshair is basically reflecting and realizing everything he missed out on because of the decisions he made. Some ways they expressed that in this episode were funny, some were sad. I love the moment at the beginning of the episode where they get the call from Fee, and then, Crosshair's like, "Who's that?" And, Omega basically gives Fee's catchphrase, and Crosshair just stares at her like, "That's the biggest bunch of BS ever." Who is this person really? And Omega's like, "Oh, she's a pirate." But the other parts, you can see that, the hurt on Crosshair's face when he realizes what he's missed out on, and just, realizing everything he could have had if he had stuck with the rest of his group. I'm kind of glad we kind of delved more into his medical issues with his hand. I thought this is something that was going to be going on throughout the season, but I'm glad they kind of finally more are delving into it. We get the revelation there's really nothing medically wrong with him, which makes me relieved because I was worried it was going to be something about his clone genetics and maybe it was breaking down and there was nothing they could do for him. So I was afraid at some point this season they would find out like, oh, he's a goner. He only has this much time left, so he's going to do everything he can to help, protect Omega and the rest of the group and maybe have some grand sacrifice or something like that. So I was very much relieved that I was wrong, and it turned out medically there's nothing wrong with him, but definitely this could be something mentally that's causing this tremor in his hand, which understandable with everything not only going on in Tantus, but just the guilt of him knowing like that, he betrayed his unit for what ended up being the wrong decision. So I think all that, that decision and then all the stuff he went through in Tantus, I think is what's causing this injury. But I love that Omega, once she finds out that there's nothing medically wrong with him, she doesn't give up on trying to help Crosshair. And she kind of spends the episode really trying to connect with him more and walk him through a way that maybe he can get better on his own and kind of deal with his trauma and, move on to the next step of his life. So the meditation scene of the episode was very peaceful. I think some people will maybe find it a little cheesy and stuff like that, but I thought that was a very beautiful moment, especially the moment when she's like touching his hand and moving in the correct position, and the amount of affection she's showing towards him, and like no ill will for all the negative things he caused Omega and the rest of the Bad Batch. That's all forgiven. And I thought that was a very beautiful moment. Like I said, I love that storyline. So I'm very interested to see now as this season goes on, will we start to see Crosshair's tremors getting better. That'll be very interesting to see. I'm also interested to see, how much more meditation we'll see in the episode. That's something he'll keep up and his kind of path to recovery. The other storyline revolves around Hunter and Wrecker trying to track down more information on what's going on with this M count, what's the Empire looking for this guard, how this is relate to Omega. So they decide to track down a bounty hunter and try to find out more information that way. So we get Fennec back, and I'm really glad we did because I've always enjoyed her character, and it's very interesting to see what her character is like now compared to what she's like when we see her later in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. The mission we get in the swamp was a really cool setting. I loved seeing stuff like, the Star Wars version of a fan boat, the Star Wars version of an alligator. All that setting was really, really cool. Even the alien species they're trying to capture with the Finnick. I've never seen that species before, so I'm not sure if that was the first time this depicted in Star Wars or not, but I thought that was a really cool design. We didn't really get as much on this side of the storyline as I was kind of hoping for. I thought, at the end, either Finnick would tell them about the M count and they would kind of move on like, oh, you need to find a Force user, this is what this was related to. Or the very end reveal when we get Finnick is calling somebody and letting them know about what the Bad Batch is up, we would see who is on the other side of that call. So I was a little disappointed that we didn't get a full reveal there. So that kind of impacts my feeling of the episode a little bit, but I have a feeling in the next episode we're going to find out. And then so when you look back, it's not going to be really quite as a big deal. But like I said, overall, I think I did enjoy the Omega Crosshair storyline a lot. The Hunter Wrecker storyline, I found parts of it really cool and interesting. The setting was really neat. But that part of the storyline I just didn't find quite as interesting as the Omega Crosshair side of it. So that's my thoughts on Bad Territory. I would say so far for this season, not my favorite episode, but not my least favorite. Probably somewhere in the middle. I enjoyed aspects of it. I think overall, when I think back at this episode at the end of the season, what I'll think of is that meditation scene with Omega and Crosshair and her touching his hand and trying to help him move on and get better. So I thought that was a beautiful moment. Really loved it. So let me know, what did you think about the episode of Bad Territory in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this review, please hit that like button. If you have yet, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support. Thanks for watching. I'll see you the next time, and may the Force be with you.